Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and I thought I'd just bring you up to date on what I've been doing lately. A lot of different projects and some events coming up, so I thought I'd tell you about those today. So let's start here. I'm looking at my list. Of course, it's October the 31st, 2019 when I'm recording this, and we've got the Halloween pumpkin in behind me, looking scary. Don't mind if every time I look to the left, because I have a monitor to my left, and that's what I'm checking to make sure I'm in focus. So let's start right off with some Christmas projects that I've been working on. So you can never start too early on the Christmas projects, I guess. And so I've been making some placemats. Here's what they look like. And what I've done is I've done some machine embroidering in the center, and it's a basic design. As you can see, and this is what the back looks like. Now this one is quilted, although it's hard for the camera to pick it up, but I just did stitch in the ditch all the way around and then did some walking foot wavy line quilting along the borders. Something really quick. And I am making a set of these for our next door neighbors because every year at Christmas time they usually come over with a little box of homemade goodies for us. So I thought it might be nice if I made them a set of placemats, and I may make some matching napkins to go with this as well. Now I actually want to make a set of placemats exactly like this for my hairdresser as well. Always like to give her something at Christmas time, but you know, I've been with this hairdresser for, geez, 25 years or more, and I know she likes to read, so I usually get her a gift certificate from Chapters, which is a bookstore here in Canada, so she can pick up something for herself. I've given her chocolates in the past as well, but you know, after a while, chocolates get a little boring, and plus on top of it all, I know that she is concerned about keeping her weight down, though I don't know why, because she's certainly not a heavy lady at all. But you know, so rather than put temptation, I thought in her way, I thought I'd do some placemats for her too. Now, if I get the time and get really ambitious, these placemats for both the neighbor and for my hairdresser might become a set with a matching table runner and, as I said before, napkins. It all depends on time. And to speed this process up, because I'm working on a lot of projects, as you're going to see, I've created kits. So I've already pre-cut all my fabric for these placemats, and I've put them in their individual Ziploc bags. And every time I get a few minutes or whatnot between projects or during the day, I pull out one of the kits and work on that. Now, I am going to go to a retreat very soon, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but I'm thinking of taking these kits with me, get some more made up, and maybe I can use some of the time at the retreat to get these done. But I have been working on some other projects as well. Now, we do have, my guild is having a quilt show in late November. And of course, they're always looking for things to sell at their boutique. So first of all, I tried to make a pin cushion. Just have it over here. And I don't like it. I saw this design for a pin cushion. It's supposed to be wonky like this, I guess. It would probably look better in a couple of different fabric colors because you have these sort of triangle edges up here. That would look nice. But, you know, I got thinking about this. I don't like this design. I think it looks kind of crappy. Of course, it could be just the way I'm sewing it. I don't know. And, you know, quilters, unless they collect them, probably already have lots of pin cushions. So this may not be an item that would sell at a boutique table. And our guild is trying to make money. This is our main fundraiser for the next 3 years because we only do one of these every 3 years, the guild show. So then I thought of something else, and I decided that I'd make little freestanding lace angels, which I don't have any to show you right now, on my embroidery machine. I've made them before. They're relatively quick. I can knock off in a couple of hours about 6 of them at a time. And I already have done that, and I've already given them to the boutique table for the show. And I might make, if I get a chance, I'm going to try to make some more. In fact, I'd like to make some more of those to put on my own Christmas tree. So they're pretty quick, and I think people would probably buy those because they are cute. The other thing I thought of were coasters. I got this Anita Goods Designs disc at the Creative Fest that happened in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. And usually Anita Design discs. Actually, they're moving away from discs now because who have CDs anymore in their computers? If you buy a new one, you don't really have one. And putting it so that you can download them online. And I've heard that there's some controversy about that kind of thing, but that's just how technology goes these days. So I found this one that had, it was sort of a quilt as you go log cabin in the hoop um, design. But they showed you how to take these designs and make them into coasters. So I took one of the basic ones. I think there were 6 designs, and I did just that. And they're kind of cute. Um, the one thing I wasn't so sure of on the back, they have like the backing is an envelope fold, like the kind of thing you'd make for you know slip covers on pillows, things like that. I guess they did that because if it's in the hoop, if you tried to do a solid piece, the way they designed this, you wouldn't be able to turn it inside out. So I made a few of these, um, and both of these are the same design. And I thought about it, but then I thought these are actually kind of fiddly to make, and they take a bit of time. So I was looking for things that I could rattle off pretty quick in large quantities, low cost, that could be donated to the boutique. So I don't think I'm going to bother with that. I did make another one to see if it would be quicker, and I just used a solid piece of material and then let it do the outline of the design. Um, Maybe if I'd used a more contrasting thread in this would work better. This, of course, is a lot faster because you're not, laying down a piece of fabric and then cutting it away and then the next fabric, etc. They're cute. They serve the purpose. This method here doesn't take as long as this method, but I don't think I'm going to bother with that. I gave the angels. Other people are donating things too. I get involved in these things and I feel like I've got to supply everything, and I don't. We have 100 people in the guild. I'm sure there would be lots of other interesting things and nicer things. So I'm not going to bother with these. I might make a couple of more just for my own use over the holidays. Um, Again, if I get ambitious enough, I could make some of these to go with the placemats sets. But I always think all kinds of projects and things like that, and I love doing them, and then you run out of time, right? And that's why I've started these projects actually at the beginning of October. Probably need to start them in about July. Some coffee. But I do love doing them, and I do love. I'm not a fan of Christmas, to be honest. When I decorate in the house, it's minimalist. Although this year I might be decorating a little bit more because I'm making a few more things. For example, I made this. Now, I'm not sure what it is. Well, I know it's a Christmas tree. Okay, it was done in the hoop. This is the back. I like doing in the hoop projects. They're a lot of fun. And I saw this one, so I made the largest one you could make. And basically, I think I'm going to use it as a table decoration. I have a round coffee table up in my family room, and I'm thinking that's one of the rooms I don't really decorate. I used to decorate every room in the bloody house at one point in time, and it just got horrendous. Now I've cut way back. I decorate my rec room. That's the room that we use the most. And if we're entertaining people at Christmas time, that's where everybody's going to be. So I have a few things up on the walls. I have a very small Christmas tree that sits on a bistro table that I have down there. Used to have well, I still have it, but I think we're going to donate it to, Value Village this year. We have a big pre-lit Christmas tree. I'd spend hours getting that decorated, and I used to do designer, all silver and blue or something like that. And it actually gives me stress. Now, Christmas is a stressful time, because we all think we have to go crazy decorating our house. Well, over the last few years, I've cut way back on that. I've gone minimalist. So this year, I'm extending out again into my family room because that's the second room in our house that we live in the most. And so something like this is going to go on my coffee table. Okay. I did get the idea if I made a bunch of these and attached them at the star, they'd be sort of a circular thing all the way around, which I think would be really cute. But this does take a while to make, and I've already got another bunch of projects for Christmas, so I have a feeling I'm not going to get to that. Maybe another year. Who knows? So that's that. But there is more. So as I was talking about that family room situation I do have 4 cushions, fairly large cushions, on I have a couch and a love seat in the family room. And I thought, maybe make slip covers for the cushions that are already there just for Christmas. And so I designed this, and I'm making 4 of them. And again, I've got them all made now. They're all done. So this is one project that is done. And you can see it's a fair size cushion. And I've got a little bit of embroidery in the center area of poinsettias. And it's an envelope backing. So it just slips over the cushion and away you go. And then after Christmas, I'll take them off and store them away with my Christmas stuff. And so that's a quick and easy way, I think, to dress up the family room for Christmas without going, crazy overboard. And so I have them all in this bag. And so that project is off my list, which I'm happy to say. Now, a couple of other things that I made. I was mentioning table runners. So I found this really nice fabric that actually, at first glance, does not look like Christmas fabric, but it is, but it's subtle. So this is something that you could leave out on a table. My dining room table, I make table runners for it, and lately it looks like I've been making table runners that'll fit each season. Geez, I'm become my mother. She used to change everything in the house according to the season, and now that's what I'm doing. But I think it's partly because I love making these kind of things. So I made a Christmas runner. Here it is. I'll just move back so you can see it a little better. And yes, it's in blues, and I love blue at Christmas time. It's a less traditional color, of course, than the reds and the greens and the golds. And I just love the blues and the silvers and things. So I made this pattern, but as you look at it, you can see if it sat on the table out through the winter season, who would know that it was really meant for Christmas, because the pattern in the fabric, as I said, is very subtle. This is the back, and it's just a pieced back in strips. And I did very simple walking foot quilting again on that. When I do things like placemats and table runners and things like that, I really don't spend a lot of time quilting them. I do want them quilted, of course, but I don't want to spend time doing free motion, like as if I could. Well, I'm getting better at free motion, though. I'll have to say that. Practice does make perfect. And but for things like this that you want to do fairly quick, I just use a simple walking foot, sort of a serpentine or wave, whatever you want to call it, design, and that seems to work okay. So for now, I'm just storing it in these bags, and I have behind me, as you can see, a Ruscot tray, and this is where I'm putting all my Christmas projects for now. Another thing, now for Halloween, I made a couple of Halloween banners, and they're sitting on my front door right now, dressing that up. And that's something else I like to make, are banners. So I had this, if you see it on here, let me get them out. I bought this applique design that's here in the center at, when we did back in July, we went to an area west of us that's got a lot of quilt shops in about a 50-kilometer radius or so. And they had this cute little kit for just making this little guy here, an applique, this block. And I thought, well, I haven't done a lot of applique. I kind of like doing applique. So I thought, yeah, I'll put this together and see what it looks like. Then I decided, well, that was going to be the centerpiece of a banner for my front door. And let me move right back without tripping if I can. How far back can I go? So there you see, there's the whole banner. I'm not quite tall enough to get it all in the shot. But the snowmen that are on it are machine embroidered. And I just did some flying geese and some, again, you can see the blue colors in here. And walking foot quilting, and here's the back. Very simple back. But I'm just going to hang this at the Christmas season on my front door of my house. You could use it as a table runner as well, but I designed it to be like a banner. And again, that's something that I like to do. So I have all of those things, but yet I am not done with Christmas. No. I saw these at my quilt store, my local quilt store, assembled, and really loved them. And again, you know how I love doing things in the hoop on my embroidery machine. And there was these two projects. Now this one doesn't show it very well, but it's a snowman. Is there a picture in here? It's a freestanding snowman, they call it. There's a lot of pieces to it. Just see if there's a picture. Yeah. Doesn't seem to be a picture. Do have a picture on my phone though, and maybe I can show that. I don't know how well this is going to show up. An idiot move. I should have, beforehand prepared something, but I didn't. And let's just see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. I guess this is way better. And another one is the gingerbread house. That one does have a picture, but here's what they were showing in the store. One of the ladies that works there had put these together. She's kind of an expert in doing this kind of stuff. And I think they may be running it as a class, but I don't want to take it as a class. I'm going to do it on my own. But I think they're really cute. I think they'd look nice sitting either on my end tables upstairs or next to my Christmas tree downstairs. We'll see. But I think they're kind of fun. And I'm not sure how long they're going to take me to make. I think they're a little bit involved. But no problem, especially the gingerbread house, because the gingerbread house has a lot of detail on it as well. So that's something that I want to work on as well. See, as I told you, I've got a lot of projects. And this might be something, I'm going to take both of my sewing machines to the retreat. And maybe I'll get, while my one machine is doing the embroidery, I can be working on some quilt stuff that I'm planning to do on the other. I have great plans for this 4-day retreat, but you know what happens. You never get as much done as you're hoping you will get done. But if I don't sleep, maybe I will. So I think that's all the Christmas projects I had to show you. I'm just checking them off on my list here. Yeah. So that takes us to the classes that I'm taking right now. And I'm doing 2 classes kind of at the same time. One class is on Monday afternoons. The other class is on Tuesday afternoons. One is called the Mystery Quilt class. So I don't really know what this quilt is going to look like until it's all done. Each class, we get the next step. And each step makes some blocks. And I guess the whole idea is you don't know what you get until you get to the end. Now, I have cheated. Because I want to know how much fabric, total fabric, I needed. And so the instructor only sent out to us step 1 to get ready. And it told you how much fabric you needed for step 1. But I want to know, total fabric for the whole project. So I went online. I found the pattern. I didn't download the pattern, but they had a picture of what the final quilt looks like. And I'm not going to show it to you because it's a mystery. I did find a sheet that told me what the total fabric was. This quilt is going to take a lot of fabric. I'm making a queen size from it, but there are 11 different fabrics in this particular design. I think it's going to look spectacular when it's done. So I thought I'd give you a little preview of a couple of the blocks. This is block 2, and this will give you an idea of the fabrics that I have picked for this as well. But I love it. I love the colors and I love the design. Anything with a star in it, I love. So that's supposedly block 2. And I think it's the center block of this quilt. From what I could see in my little cheat sheet that I downloaded. And I just finished step 3. And later today, after I'm finished doing this and get it up, I have to start cutting the pieces for step 4. Step 3, let's see. There are a couple of blocks in step 3. Now, step 1 I'm not showing you because step 1 is a whole bunch of pieces that fit in different parts of the quilt. So this is one of the blocks in step 3. Actually, there's 3 block. These go in other spots of the quilt. So these are in a group of 3 pieces, 2 the same, and then this one. And they must go in different areas of the quilt. I have never done a mystery quilt before, so it's a mystery to me how this all fits together. Um, and boy, do you ever have to label things because there are so many pieces to this quilt. So I'm storing my pieces as I get them done into these little Ziploc bags I get at the dollar store. Just take the air out. And I label them and with the quantity and what step it is. And then I have them in a bigger bag for the whole step. Now this is the other block in step 3. If I can get my bag open here. I don't know what it is about these cheap Ziploc bags. They sometimes lock, they sometimes don't. This one is really locked. Okay, let's try this again. Bear with me, please. Wow. Talk about preserving it for freshness. Okay. So this is what this other block in step 3 looks like. And I think that's really cool too. So you can see there are a lot of little pieces and I'm not even done yet. Like that's just the first 3 steps. There's 6 steps in total in this quilt. But I think it will be very nice when it's finished. So as I said, I put each of these pieces when they're done into their own little Ziploc bag, all labeled, and then when the whole step is done, I put them all into a giant Ziploc bag listing the step on it. Because with this number of fabrics in it, very easy to get things mixed up. Okay, so I've always wanted to do one of these, but I've never gotten around to it, so I'm taking this class. And this is the Bargello, and that's the pattern. And you make it with jelly rolls, a couple of jelly rolls, and you had to decide, the hard part was deciding the order of your colors. And I've got the first set, strip set, done. And again, this is another one that's got a lot of labels on it. Keep everything straight, because I think there's about 20 strips in each panel. And so this is mine. A little wrinkly at the moment, but those will come out. But I have to make another one of these panels, just exactly like this. And then there's all this stuff about pressing it in a certain way and the way you sew it so you don't get it to warp and all that kind of thing. And that's one reason why I want to take the class, because these are things I would not be aware of. And yeah, I just figured it would be safer to take a class. So that's what I'm also working on. So the mystery quilt and the Bargello, I'm kind of working on simultaneously. So today, well, after I cut out the pieces for step 4 of the mystery quilt, then I should be able to get started on the second strip set for the Bargello. So you can see between that and Christmas projects, I'm busy. I live at my sewing machine and I love it. I really do. It's so creative, but I keep getting ideas as I work on these things, as I'll tell you in a second. So I've already mentioned about all the Christmas things, and so miscellaneous projects, as I call them. Okay, so I have got, what did I put here? Yeah, I'm making a quilt for a friend of mine. I think I've shown it in previous episodes, and let me grab it here from my cart. I have it all pieced together, and now I'm starting the quilting of it, and I'm doing walking foot quilting. But on this one, the quilting of it in walking foot is not as straightforward, like going from one side to the other. So this is the quilt. It's a good size throw. It's made with Tim Holtz fabrics, and I'm just doing wavy lines quilting, but I'm doing them in each one of these panels, and they're going diagonally. Hard to hold it here, through these diagonal pieces. So this is the back. I did a pieced back with some of the leftover pieces. Am I getting that in the shot? It's hard to tell when I'm hiding behind it. Now, this does not have to be done by Christmas. I was kind of setting myself the goal originally to have it done by Christmas for him. But he initially said he wanted to commission a quilt from me, that he would pay for my time and my materials and that. And I says, nope, nope, you're a friend. I don't charge friends for quilts. And I also told him, I said, don't think you'd be able to afford me. You know, that's the problem with non quilters or people who aren't makers of things. They think that because it's homemade, that you can rattle these things off in a couple of days or a couple of hours, and that if they're paying for it, you should charge no more than $5.99. Not the case. So, but he's a good friend. He does appreciate the time and effort that goes into the things that I make, and I was flattered that he wanted one of my quilts. So I said, sure. He likes vintage. That's vintage, and I discussed colors with him, and these colors are the kind of thing he likes. So, and I think it'll go with his decor nicely. So, yeah, he'll get it eventually. I told him it would take me a while. He's not in any rush. Good thing. But yeah, and the other thing about when I'm quilting things like that, I need to be in the mood. Um, I don't mind quilting. However, it's not one of my favorite things. I like piecing a lot. I do not dislike quilting. It's just that I'm not as confident in that part of quilting right yet. I'm getting better though, as I said, with practice. And no, I refuse to have somebody else quilt my quilts for me and to pay them. I don't know. Maybe I'll get over that at some point in time, but I really don't feel that it's totally my quilt then if I hire somebody else to quilt it for me. Um, that may just be I'm being naive about the whole process. I know lots of people, they don't quilt their own quilts, they hire a quilter to do it. And yes, the end result is very nice and very professional, but my way of thinking then it's not completely your quilt. Somebody else did that part of it. So, yeah, so that one's going to take a while, and we'll see. Let's see. Okay, what else was I talking about? Okay, so of course we all have scraps, right? And I save my scraps. Although I'm getting a little bit more selective about the scraps I save now. If they're really tiny little things, I pitch them. But what I've been doing with scraps last little while, when I get a chance, you get a few minutes or something, I've been cutting them up into like 2.5 inch squares and making a bunch of little tiny half square triangles. Now, this is some of that fabric that I used in the table runner, the blue Christmas fabric, and I put them in this little box. What will I do with them? I'm not sure, but I did do this just to see. I put that little thing together with some of these half square triangles, and I'm thinking, I'll continue to do this every now and then. Like if you get bored with a project you're working on, you need a break from it, or you only have half an hour or something like that, you reach in a little basket, grab some of these squares, make some half square triangles out of them, and you can put together some small, like 6.5 inch or whatever um, blocks. And then over time, you'll have a whole bunch of blocks, and you could, make a throw, make a table runner, make a placemat, whatever out of it. If you get enough of these in your collection and you need something really quick, as a hostess gift or something like that, you could just grab a few of these blocks, sew them together, bingo, do some walking foot quilting on it, and you've got yourself a table runner or a set of placemats or whatever. So just a thought. Whether this works out or not, I have no idea. And let's see, I have another idea for my scraps similar to this. What I'm thinking is just do some, quickie strip pieces, either panels or blocks or something like that. Do a little foundation paper piecing, but simple. I'm not sure, like a string quilt or something like that, or a quilt as you go. Basically, what I'm thinking is taking some of my scrap batting that I have, lay some fabric down on it, sew it across, bang, uh, quilt it, possibly not even bother quilting it free motion. I can do it using some of the quilting settings on my embroidery machine and make a bunch of blocks like that. And again, charity quilts, quickie gifts, whatever. Maybe. This thought went through my head because What do you do with the scraps? Really? I mean, I know everybody has that problem, right? And scraps breed more scraps, it seems. Okay, so I think that's about all the projects I'm working on now. As I say that, though, I'm looking behind the camera and I have project boxes, lots of them, all labeled. Just all kinds of different quilts in there. I find a pattern I like. I go out and I buy some of the material for it or whatever, throw it in a box, label it, and never get to it, kind of a thing. I have some projects here that I really want to get onto, but then I see something else, like a squirrel. When I'm in any kind of quilt shop, oh, look at pretty fabric. I need it all. Look, patterns. Oh, I love that. I got to make that. I don't know when I get them done. And speaking of which, I have a project that I'm planning. I've got it planned out. I have all the fabric for it and everything like that. It involves applique and piecing and the whole bit. And it's from fabrics that I bought in Australia back last spring when I was in Australia. So I have some Australian fabrics and I want to make an Australian quilt. Now, I have made an Australian quilt before. I've been to Australia 3 times. The very first trip, I collected linen tea towels and I made those into a quilt. And it turned out pretty good. And that was in the early stages of when I first started quilting. I've only been quilting for just 2 years now, and I've made a lot of quilts. And that one turned out pretty nice. But of course, it was made from linen tea towels. So by the time I got it done, got it quilted, did all that kind of stuff to it, it is one heavy sucker. I can tell you that. It's like a weighted blanket almost. So this time I bought regular quilting cotton at different places that we were in when we were in Australia. And I found these really cute appliques of Australian animals. I got one of them put together, and I think I've shown that on one of my previous videos before. I've got 3 more, and they're going to be the centerpiece of those quilts, the way I've designed it. I designed it in an electric quilt. I'm not very good with electric quilt yet. It's got a steep learning curve, but it was enough to get my basic design. And so I'm thinking that this might be my major project that I'll work on at the retreat. Maybe. I've also got all these Christmas things to do and these classes. So we'll see. At least get a start on it, put it that way. So, speaking of the retreat, that's coming up middle of November. It's a 4-day retreat, and it's at a spot where, accommodation, food's included with it all. And I will be the only man because I'm the only man in my guild. I'm also secretary of my guild. So I'll be there with all the ladies, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, basically 4 days of uninterrupted sewing. And I've been to retreats before, and they're always fun. So I'm looking forward to that, and I've got a whole carload of stuff to take with me because I'll be taking both of my sewing machines, my embroidery machine, which is also sewing machines, the Janome 15,000 Horizon, and I have reviewed it on the Idiot Quilter before. And then I have my MC100, which is my class machine. Basically, it's much lighter. It's the one I take the classes because the Janome 15,000 weighs about 38 pounds. And plus it's got an embroidery unit that snaps onto it. It's a heavy little sucker. But my idea is some of the projects where I need embroidery, I can set that machine up, let it do its thing. While it's doing that, I can work on the MC100 on these other projects. That's my plan, so we'll see how that goes. Of course, I've got to take my sewing stool with me, a couple of small tables as well, electrical stuff to plug this all in, my projects, my kits, my notions. Wow. I don't know how people manage that fly to retreats, how they get all their stuff to a retreat. Don't know how that works. At least I'm just driving so I can pack up the car and away we go. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the week after the retreat is our big guild show. This is a biggie. I have never been involved in a show before because I'm relatively new to the guild. I've only been a member for a little over a year. And yes, and I'm secretary of it already, but I think it's because nobody else wanted the job. So they approached me, and whether I was foolish or not, I accepted the challenge, and well, I want to be more involved in the guild anyways, and that's one way to do it. So we have the big quilt show. So we set up on a Thursday, I think. The quilt show runs Friday and Saturday. I've got 5 quilts in the show. Excuse me. And the show is not really being judged, good thing, by professional quilt judges, because they certainly wouldn't be looking at mine twice. Can tell you that. But I think people who come to the show and see the quilts, I think they'll have a ballot and they can vote on different ones. And I'll make no bones about it. It would be really nice if I could come away with a prize for one of my quilts. It would really do my ego a lot of good. And yeah, I mean, it's the thrill of it. Bragging rights, I guess. I don't know. It just, more than likely though, the quilts that come from our guild, oh, some of those ladies have been quilting for like 20 years or longer, and their stuff is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I can't compete, but I'm not trying to compete either. This is for me. So I'm going to be working the show as well, as most of us in the guild are. It takes a lot of people to run something like this, and surprisingly, though, some of the people in my guild don't seem to want to be too involved in it. I'm not sure why they joined a guild. But I guess that's the way things go in organizations. So I'll be manning the desk when people come in to get tickets and check their tickets. At one point, I'm doing setup, helping with setup, not doing it all on my own, of course not. Ballot counting, I'm not sure what that involves, but something. And yeah, so I'm going to be busy those 2 days at the quilt show as well. Plus, need a little time to get around and see everybody else's quilts as well. So that's coming up. I'm looking forward to it. But I think between the retreat and the guild show, I'm going to be pretty much tired out by then. But it's a happy tired. Yeah. So I think that's all I've got today. Oh, one more thing. If you haven't heard of it, a friend of mine started about a year ago a website called The Quilter's Way. It's a paid membership site. Kim, who runs it, she is excellent as an instructor. So there are all kinds of videos about how to do just about everything in quilting, from free motion, walking foot quilting, piecing, press, everything. It's all there. They're very professionally made videos, and it is a paid membership. I think it's in Canadian dollars, I think it works out to about $14, $15 a month. And I'll tell you this, it is well worth the money. Plus, every other Friday, we all get together that are members that choose to do so and have a video, sort of a video conference. It's very social throughout, every day. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with the messages. People looking for help, people just sharing what they're working on. It's very inspiring that way. But the Zoom meetings, and I call them Zoom meetings because we use a software platform called Zoom, which is free and very easy to use. And you can see everybody at the same time. And Kim usually starts off with giving us some kind of instruction. And then from there, we work on some projects or we talk about different topics or things. She always has a topic for the meeting. And it's just nice to show and share and learn things from other people. And we have people from all around the world on this. So if you've never heard of it, go to the Quilter's Way, do a search in Google search. You'll find it, and you can read all about it and learn more. And if you're interested, it would be great to have you join it. As I said, it's a very social group, it's a very friendly group, and it's a very useful and educational site as well. I have learned a lot from that. So that's the Quilter's Way. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you for tuning into this episode of the Idiot Quilter. And I hope to see you soon on the next one. So you have a good Halloween, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.